Alright, I got the thing from eBay. That authentication thing. Remember, I bought a card from eBay that was worth more than that $250. So the seller has to go through that authentication process or whatever, and just got it, man. It didn't take as long. They actually shipped it out like the next day, so pretty fast. So let's see how it looks though. So they seal it like this, fairly compact, no big deal. All right. Huh. I mean, it looks pretty nice. The fact that it's free, packaged well. Actually, they put that on. They actually put a really, I don't know if you can see, a really thick cardboard. So this packaging is probably better than how most eBayers would ship. So the fact that it doesn't cost you anything. Well, can't say it doesn't cost you anything when they're charging you like fucking 13%, 10% eBay fee and then 3% for payment fee and shit. But it's not free, but that's an added service, I guess. It's pretty good. Now the question is, how do you open this thing? Oh, it's magnetic. This is actually quite nice. Okay. My best guess is they just see if it's authentic. I don't know how many problems they would, ever come by. Maybe like condition wise, if somebody sells it as new or whatever. I don't think they look into that at all, because that would take them tremendous amount of time for them to look at the items, item number, go back, make sure it's the look at the picture and look at the conditioning, then look through the card to see if it's the actual. I don't think they do all that. I think all they do is go through like very, very basics of if the card is real or not, because most cards, at least right now, doesn't take that long to authenticate. Magic, you could do the three things. Look, magnifying glass for the print dots, the light test, bend test. I don't think they'll use the bend test, but that takes like 10 seconds. Pokemon, same thing. Print dot. If you look through magnifying glass, obviously they're not gonna rip the card, or that or anything like that. But basic tests like for Flesh and Blood, there's I can't really see, but there's a TM here somewhere. Where is it? I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Right there, that TM. Yeah. There's a little black swirl that goes. So if it's authentic, it doesn't look smudged when it goes over it. And there's also another LSS written here somewhere. Basics also, by looking here through magnifying glass, the print the print dot is always comes down to print dots, right? I mean, they most people who forge or make fake cards, they can't afford multi-million-dollar printers, so the print dot of the matrix is always off, and especially on the when it's something tight like bordering stuff like that, it always bleeds. So they probably just do that, but I don't know. I mean, it looks nice. I think it's pretty cool. I think this actually has a better condition than the one that I have in my binder. So I got this for a really good price. Got it for like $200 and something. It's valued at around $3 to $350, depending on the season. When it's off season for Flesh and Blood, they go for like $3. When it's during hype of before like Pro Tour season or calling, stuff like that, when people are getting their deck ready and new meta comes out, yada yada yada, then gets hot. Like, that's the thing about Flesh and Blood. It's so funny because no matter how bullish I am and how like I've been like super bullish about Flesh and Blood the whole time, while a lot of people have been saying negative things, yada yada yada. So for most people who know me, I've been very bullish about Flesh and Blood, even through Monarch and all that stuff. And even though I'm bullish, I also have to say that the market is still thin. I think there's been a lot of buyouts, which is awesome, but at the same time, it doesn't do anything because the follow through just isn't there. If they have like I don't know. Let's say this card, Prismatic Shield. Actually, there has been a buyout of Prismatic Shield. Let's say if there was like a bunch of them at $3. Someone actually I know this guy bought out like all the copies at $3 to $7. So like the only copies left are now 10, right? So when there's a few of these $10 left, people see it as at $10, so they list it. What happens is the follow through isn't there, so that $10 doesn't really, maybe a few of the copies at $10 would sell, but then it dries up and then it starts to go down slowly, and then it'll find the equilibrium of maybe $5. People won't go back down to three usually, but they just sure as hell ain't gonna pay 10. So it'll find somewhere around the lower end of the equilibrium. So if this was a three, if it goes up to 10, maybe about five, six, maybe somewhere around there. Like somewhere around there, I would say. And problem with the whole Flesh and Blood right now, at least the way I see it, is that um, what's the best way to put it? Is a lot of it's so early in the game, right? Okay, so if you remember, like, okay, Magic the Gathering, even Pokemon, especially Yu-Gi-Oh, in the early part of their game, there wasn't really a meta. I mean, there was, I guess, for like Yu-Gi-Oh, like the weenie beatdown deck. The only one that's 5 star or higher that most people played in the early part of Yu-Gi-Oh was Jinzo. You sacrifice Jinzo so that they can play trap cards. That's probably the only sacrifice some most weenie decks, fast beatdown decks made. And then you stack the shit out of it with like Regeki, Dark Hole, Pot of Greed, the staples, Mirror Force, stuff like that, and just beat them down little by little. One, at you bring out the highest 4 star, right? Like, Spear Dragon. Well, that was not the first block, but and 1800 attacks, like stuff like that. Like the very very early part. Same for Magic. People didn't really build too much into combos, so to speak. I mean, the small combos were like, you use like green decks to pump out as much mana as you can to bring out like Force of Nature, but it wasn't structured as highly as it was, except for a small percentage of at the highest level. But overall, they're really, even for Pokemon, everyone just what they do is pull out Charizard as fast as they can. Like grab Charizard and you beat down the other guy because the other Pokemons can swing the same amount of attack power as Charizard can. It's just that's like it was very minimally focused on one aspect. But when it comes to Flesh and Blood, because you have heroes and the heroes actually have, which is like, it's like an RPG game. It's like World of Warcraft. I actually usually always say it's kind of more like Dota and League of Legends in a way, but for the simplicity, I'll say like World of Warcraft. You have a hero, right? And that hero has equipments. He's got the foot, legs. You get Phantasmal foot as their legging. You get their chest piece. Their helmet, their weapon. You have a hero, and that hero also has different abilities per and how they attack. So when you do that, you have now, instead of having one big pool of cards, you have like 12 different ways of using minimal cards. There's the half the cards are like generic, but the other remaining half of the cards that's not even half, it's like more like a quarter of, maybe 1/3 of the cards are generic. The rest are based on hero. Only specific heroes can use said cards. So when you do that, and it's because hero based, to play at a pretty top level, only a few heroes are strong enough and have the cards enough that are available right now for them to get to the Pro Tour and play at the highest level. Starvo, obviously, Starvo is the, Bravo star of the show. Starvo, Prism's done okay. Viserai, like, they, they are pretty much, on the higher tier. Yeah, there are also a couple of heroes that are, really up there too, but But point is that the rest of the heroes, they don't have the cards there yet. So because you play in such a tight meta right now, and because of the pool of cards to make different decks to break metas is so limited that most of the people who are playing right now already have the cards. They're fairly deeply invested. So when a new meta comes out, or when the new hype for the Pro Tour or the calling, well, let's say calling because you gotta go through the calling first. Like you go through the calling, and new one comes out, stuff like that. People start buying up the cards, but then after it dies out, like most people are eliminated or whatever. They don't have the points to make it to Pro Tour or yada yada yada. They there's a more sell pressure than the buying side as it was. Like there's like a very big Jackal and Hyde with Flesh and Blood market. Is that when new set comes out, or when they announce a new calling or Pro Tour, when they get closer to it, and people and new metas come out and stuff like that, like market is really booming because there's such a shortage of cards. Like we're talking about like Prismatic Shield that goes from like $3 to 10. Like Phantasmal Footsteps earlier this year, maybe I think I guess like December of last year going into the very early part of 2022, this used to be like 150, 160. It's like 300 to 350 now, depending on the season. So like, yeah, there are shortages of cards, but also the demand side fluctuates tremendously, and the reason for that is what I've just said, because of the metas and the tightness of the game right now and the need for cards, and the fact that there's a lot of people who already have the cards. See, that's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about, is that there are a lot of collectors. I won't say like tons, but there are enough collectors in Flesh and Blood. Problem is there are no new collectors. That's the thing. Like I know Rudy says, oh, there's no collectors, it's dead, everyone yada yada yada. I think he says that as to troll people, but he knows there are collectors, but I think he's probably really kind of saying that no new ones are coming, and he does mention that there are no new collectors coming in, and there's truth to that. See, the thing is, most collectors that are already in the Flesh and Blood world, such as myself, we already have pretty good position on it. So when the weak, that's where the problem lies, is that I don't want to say weak hands. It's such a stupid way of saying it, but people who want to get out of the market, people who wants to say, I'm gonna do something else with the money. Perfectly understandable. I'm not here to judge or call people whatever. Fill in the blank. Hand whatever. Yeah, like when they do that, even though there are whales, we know them. They are on social media, and they have a shitload of great cards and sealed products and stuff. They don't really bite into it because they already have their position from before, and they don't really see the real need to increase. Meaning, if like very small amount of people got in Flesh and Blood when I did, so I don't have the biggest position, obviously, but I'm pretty good. So, but as I recently bought the Flesh and the Welcome to Wraith, Alpha box, another one at $2,500. It's kind of like, if you think about it, right? Even though obviously I'm not a whale, but in any money, it doesn't matter if you're a freaking whale or a dirt poor person. When it comes to money, all the mentality is still the same. If you bought something for $110 and you have multiple of them already, it makes you say, man, this is so fucking stupid to buy another one for $2,500. It really doesn't matter if you're a whale, if you have $1 billion, $100, or you live out on the street. Really doesn't matter. That's how people think, and that's how it'll always think. Like, people will think. I don't really try to think that way. Like, I go with what the current market price is, what the current market price at worst is going to be, and what I think it will most likely be. And even though I have multiple boxes at $100, at $2,500, I told myself, at current market price, I this is my opinion, I value it at $3,000 to $3,500 for a box of Welcome to Wraith sealed. Some people will say, that's too low, blah blah blah, whatever. That's your opinion. there ain't gotta be too many people who are willing to buy it at like $4,000. I can tell you that much. There's plenty of boxes out on Facebook, whatever, at $4,000. No one's biting. There's no reason to. Trust me. 3,000 to 3,500 is the correct price for most people. As I said, that's opinionated because some people will be willing to pay $4,000. I'm sure, when even if they don't have to. But there's plenty of them at $3,500 of steel. Welcome to Wraith. Now, I can't say really plenty, but there are going around. Not too hard to find. To get it around there, so that's what I go with. So at $2,500, I told myself at worst 3,000. Like at the current market price, meaning if I were to go out and I say, you know what, I don't want this anymore, I could sell it at 3,000 fairly easy. Buy, done deal. At worst, I said to myself, if we go into another bear market, 2,000. Why? Because at $2,000, I'm willing to buy another couple of boxes. If I'm willing to buy a couple more boxes, I know there's plenty of people who are willing to buy it at 2,000. So I don't think it'll drop more than 2,000. Anything below that, I'll be willing to scoop up even more. So and I know other people who are willing to scoop up them even more, even though they have a big position. So that's what it is. Is that most people, that's like the point of view, is that most people who are already in the hobby, already have a good position, and so they don't want to pay current market value because of what I just said. If they got it at $100, most people didn't get it at 100. They got it at about 1,500, 2,000, 2,000, somewhere around there. As an example, for them to pay $2,500 for a box makes 0 sense for them, because they just don't have to. You know what I mean? Especially when the market is going sideways, they're happy with their position. Fine. What you do want is new collectors to come in and scoop those up and set a new floor. But that's where it's not really happening. And that's the reason why there's such a big fluctuation. It's on the playing side as well. Is that a lot of the players already have a good chunk of bases of cards, especially the staples. So you see them selling usually hero-based cards and move it over to a new hero that they want to play that'll fit the new meta. And when it's quiet while people are waiting, you're seeing that as well. Things that they have a lot of copies of, things like that are a little bit hero-based that they feel like it's not gonna do anything anytime soon. That's why they sell, and you get a lot of sell side, and there's a huge imbalance. And when it comes to huge imbalance like this, it's volume more times than not. There isn't enough to fill that need. But at the same time, I'm not talking about the market volume itself. There's a lot of flesh and blood player. I'm talking about the meta volume, because the meta is so tight in flesh and blood right now. There's only, as I said, a handful of heroes that could play at the highest level, and of those heroes, there's only really one or two, very, very, I can't say one or two, but very minimal way of giving them the best chance of winning. So, with the limited amount of cards to go around, the pool of cards, like if Flesh and Blood, let's say, had Magic the Gathering worth of cards, and remember, Flesh and Blood doesn't play rotations. Whatever came out from Welcome to Wraith all the way till now, they're all playable. So if Flesh and Blood had a million amount of different cards, right? The meta, we wouldn't have this problem because there's so many different ways to play one hero with so many pool of different ability and cards. You can break metas if you think hard enough. If you a lot of the times, the surprise, holy shit, no one plays that card, well this guy did, and he's gonna go really far in the tournament, stuff like that, because there's so many different pools of ability and stuff and combos you can pull off when the pool of cards are there. Right now we're so early that we don't, and I just feel that we'll probably go through this for another block 2, maybe a set of blocks, so maybe 2 more years, I think, where the market's gonna be fairly tight. But the thing is, when the market is tight, that's when you want to buy stuff. It's easiest to get ahead of the market when everything is predictable. That's what it is. But enough rambling. This looks fantastic. I am gonna have to take a. Ah crap! I think there's something on my thing. I don't know if it's on the card or not, but this looks great. It is authentic. Let me just look at it real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna have to do it off camera. I need some light. Looks pretty good. Printouts are good too. Yeah, I mean, this is great. I like it. I think this is like pretty cool. They shipped this priority mail, so I don't know how they're losing money like this and still doing it. But I'm probably gonna take this off the seal because actually I'm gonna do it on camera. I'm taking it off the eBay void seal thing. This is I actually have I have one of these in that I sent to grading. Obviously, I don't think Card Saver 1 is great. You know, that's that's not what I'm saying. It's great. I mean, this. I think this is pretty cool. I think it's nice. It's magnetic. Yeah. But yeah, I actually have one sent to BGS. They should be done with it within, I don't know, maybe 30 to 60 days. It's been about a month. They said it takes about 90 days right now. And I have one in my binder. But I think this one actually looks cleaner than the one in my binder. I don't know. I mean, I have to take it out and I'm gonna have to take a look. But they even double sleeve it, which is very nice. Okay. No, I don't know if this is gonna be better than the one in my binder. I'm not sure. I don't know. Centering is a bit off. There's a smidge of edge. I don't know if this is... Corners are better than the one I have in my binder, that's for sure. There's only one ding on this little corner here. I don't know if you could see it. That is it. So the corners on this one actually look fantastic. Centering is off. Just like edging. This is, I mean, this is near mint. Just near mint, so that's fine. I had no intentions of grading this. I only, as I said, I only got this because the price was so good at like $200 and something, like $220, something like that. So it's pretty good. I'm happy with it. All right.